Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Kaczynski with you. We are on the penultimate skill in Section S of IXL's Algebra 1. Penultimate means second to last, by the way. We're going to write an equation for parallel or perpendicular lines today. All right, so reminder, parallel lines, their slopes are equivalent, the same. Perpendicular lines, their slopes have a product of -1. They're what is known as opposite reciprocals. They'd look something like this, A over B, and the other slope would be -b over a. Opposite, one's positive, one's negative. Reciprocals, they're flipped over. All right, so here we have the equation for line J that can be written like this. Line K includes this point and is parallel to line J. What's the equation of K? All right, well, parallel means that their slopes will be the same, right? So the slope is 1/8. Line K is going to have a slope of 1/8. And then also it goes through this point. So what I'm going to do is write my equation in point slope form here, even though it's wanted in slope intercept form. We'll convert it later. So let's go y. We do the opposite of this 3, so -3 equals our slope 1/8 times x. And then we do the opposite of this 8, so subtract 8. That's point slope form of a line that is parallel to J and runs through the point 8, 3. We have to turn it into slope intercept form, so we can do that in, let's do it in 2 steps. First step is going to be distribute the 1/8. So 1/8 times x is 1/8 x. 1/8 times -8 is -1. And the next step will be to add 3 to both sides. So 1/8 x, and then we'll do -1 plus 3 is +2. So y equals 1/8 x plus 2. That would be line K, and it would be parallel to line J. Same slope and running through the point 8, 3. Line F has an equation of this. Line G is perpendicular now. We're talking perpendicular. And includes this point. What's the equation of G? All right, so since it's perpendicular, its slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal of 1/2. So its slope is going to be -2 over 1 instead of 1/2, positive 1/2, which is just -2. So here we go. We'll do y minus this 8 here equals our slope, which is -2, times x. And we'll take the opposite of this -9 plus 9 because we're really subtracting a -9, so that's like adding 9. So there's our line, equation of line G in point slope, but they want it in slope intercept. We can do that in 2 steps again. Let's just distribute that -2, -2x minus 18, and then we'll add 8 to both sides. So y equals -2x minus 10. And there's our equation in slope intercept form. Let's do a few more. So we got this equation of line Q. Line R is parallel to it. Well, let's stop right there. Parallel means that its slope will be the same as the other one. Now, this is written in point slope form, but that's the slope right there. Parallel means it's going to have the same slope. Q includes this point, 7, 1. What's the equation, or R includes that point, 7, 1. What's the equation of R? Parallel. All right, here we go. So we'll go y minus that 1 equals our slope, which is parallel, so same slope, -1/2, times x minus that 7. And there's our equation in point slope form. We just need to turn it into slope intercept form. So let's distribute the 1/2. So it would be -1/2 x plus 7/2. And then we're going to add 1 to both sides. I'm going to show just a little bit of work here. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Adding 1 here, adding 2 halves here, which is also 1. So that'll give me y equals negative 1/2 x plus 9 halves. And there's the equation of line R in slope-intercept form. Yes, you have to use fractions for IXL. All right, here's another one. T is perpendicular to S. Perpendicular. Okay, that means its slope is going to be an opposite reciprocal of this negative 9. So instead of negative, it's going to be positive. Instead of 9 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 9. And it travels through the point negative 9, negative 4. So here we go. We just go y minus the negative 4, which is like plus 4, equals our slope, 1/9, times x minus the negative 9, which would be plus 9. And there's our line, equation of line t in point slope form. We need it in slope intercept form. Same steps every single time, just distribute and then subtract or add. So 1/9 x, 1/9 of 9 is 1. And then just subtract 4 from both sides. So we get 1/9 x, 1 minus 4 is negative 3. There's the equation of line t in slope intercept form. Let's do one more for good measure. We got time. We got the equation of line v. Oh, see, now this one's a little different because we have to take this equation and find its slope. Okay, so let's do that. It's in standard form. So I think the easiest way to find its slope is probably to turn it into intercept or slope-intercept form. So let's subtract 5x from both sides. And then we'll divide both sides by negative 4. Negative 5x divided by negative 4 would be 5/4. And negative 12 divided by negative 4 would be positive 3. So now we know that its slope is 5/4, and we can get to work on this. Line W includes this point and is perpendicular. Okay, so if it's perpendicular, that means its slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal, which is negative 5/4 or negative 4/5. Instead of positive, it's going to be negative. Instead of 5/4, it's going to be 4/5. All right, so here we go, right in our equation. Y minus that 3 equals our slope, negative 4/5, slope of our line that we're trying to write the equation of, times x minus that negative 5, which would be plus 5. And then we'll turn this into slope-intercept form by distributing the negative 4/5. That would be negative 4/5 x. And then negative 4/5 times 5 would just be negative 4. The 5's cancel out. And then add 3 to both sides. And we get negative 4/5 x. Negative 4 plus 3 is, negative 1. So in this one, we actually had to find the slope before we could write the equation. Find the slope of the original line before we could find the slope of the line that was perpendicular to it. That one's a little tougher. All right, so that's writing an equation for parallel and perpendicular lines. Good luck, and let me know how it goes.